Daniel had spent 20 years believing his wife, Emma, was dead. The police had found her abandoned car near a flooded bridge after a violent storm. Despite weeks of searching, no trace of her was ever discovered. Everyone eventually accepted the painful truth. Everyone except Daniel. Every anniversary of her disappearance, he visited the bridge carrying white lilies, the flowers she loved most. Friends urged him to move on. His family begged him to remarry. He never did. Instead, he poured every ounce of love into raising his young son, Noah, who was only 3 years old when Emma vanished. Life wasn't easy. Daniel worked long shifts, missed countless hours of sleep, and sacrificed every dream he had. Yet whenever Noah smiled, he felt Emma was somehow still watching over them. Years passed. Noah grew into a successful young man and eventually left home for college. Daniel found himself alone once again. One rainy afternoon, while waiting at the city's central train station, his entire world stopped. Standing across the platform was Emma. She looked older. A few silver strands framed her face. But those gentle eyes, that smile, there was no mistake. His heart pounded. Emma, she slowly turned. For a brief second, their eyes locked. She froze. Then panic spread across her face. She grabbed the hand of a young woman standing beside her and hurried toward another platform. Daniel chased after them. The train doors began closing. Emma, wait. The young woman looked back. Daniel's breath disappeared. She had his eyes. The exact same deep blue eyes that stared back at him every morning. The train pulled away. Daniel stood motionless as it vanished into the rain. For days he couldn't sleep. Had grief finally driven him insane? No, he knew what he had seen. Determined to uncover the truth, Daniel returned to the station every afternoon. 5 days later, she appeared again. This time he reached her before she could escape. Emma, she slowly turned. Tears instantly filled her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. Daniel's voice trembled. They told me you were dead. Emma couldn't answer. Instead, the young woman stepped forward. Mom. Daniel looked at her. Who are you? She hesitated before speaking. My name is Lily. Silence filled the station. Emma closed her eyes. She's your daughter. Daniel felt the ground disappear beneath him. My daughter. Emma nodded through tears. When I disappeared, I was pregnant. Daniel couldn't breathe. What happened? Emma took a deep breath. The accident wasn't an accident. She explained everything. Years earlier, she had uncovered financial crimes involving dangerous people connected to the company where she worked. When she refused to stay silent, they threatened her family. One night they forced her into a terrible choice. Disappear forever, or watch Daniel and Noah become their next targets. Authorities secretly placed her into witness protection. The rules were absolute. No contact, no letters, no phone calls, nothing. She gave birth to Lily in another state under a different identity. Every birthday, every Christmas, every anniversary, she watched Daniel and Noah from a distance whenever it was safe. She carried their photographs everywhere. Daniel's tears flowed freely. You watched us. Emma nodded. I never stopped loving you. Lily quietly opened her purse. Inside was a worn photograph. Daniel and little Noah smiling together 20 years earlier. I've carried this my whole life, Lily said softly. I always wanted to meet my father. Daniel embraced her without another word. For the first time in 20 years. He held his daughter. Weeks later, Emma introduced Daniel to the investigators who had protected her all those years. The criminal organization responsible had finally been dismantled. The danger was over. Nothing stood between them anymore. Daniel invited Emma and Lily home. Noah arrived that evening, confused by the unexpected family gathering. When Emma walked into the room, he froze. Mom. Neither spoke. They simply ran toward each other. Years of pain disappeared inside one embrace. The house echoed with laughter, tears, and memories that had waited 2 decades to return. Later that night, Daniel visited the old bridge one final time. He placed fresh white lilies beside the railing. Not to say goodbye to Emma, but to say goodbye to the grief that had stolen 20 years of his life. As the sun rose over the river, Emma slipped her hand into his. Lily and Noah walked ahead, laughing together like they had known each other forever. Daniel smiled. Sometimes life doesn't erase the past. Sometimes, it gives you a second chance to finish the story that was never meant to end.